Before we commence, let us take a few moments to worship the Supreme One, the one who crossed the treacherous road, who swam the tumultuous seas of samsara to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána, not just for himself, but for all sentient beings. Let's take a few moments to worship the Supreme Buddha by chanting the Namaskara 3 times all together and with me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So as you all may know, today we have a very special event, which is the opening of, I think you call it the golden fence, the Rangata. And as I was coming down, I was thinking about this. And what I realized was, if we were to look back at all sermons, you know, back in the past, we used to write down what we do in a day. These sermons are pretty much like that. I was thinking about this because every single time we do something amazing in the monastery, we talk about it in the monastery. Every time there's some change that's happened, we've talked about it in these sermons and in all sermons. So it's almost like these are diary entries. We can look back anytime we want, because these are all stored in various places, and rejoice in these merits. And as further as we were going down, I realized that this is honestly a diary for myself. Because what you may not know, that these sermons are things I think about. Within a week, what I contemplate on, or the advice that I receive, I take, I think about, I use, I give. And therefore, this is also almost like, I'm not writing anything down, like kind of start with Dear Diary, this is what I thought about. But these are also parts or kind of diary entries. And it is something that I think is really, because most of you, if not all of you, most of you have probably known me for so many years. And you'll see the journey that I've taken. And probably, because after today, last, I think Tuesday, I was able to talk with my mother, right? She is trying her very best to find any path that she can take to come back here. Because that's thanks to the impact that you've made. Literally, she's telling me that, okay, I'm going to do this job entirely for nothing else but, number 1, to help what I can for the Sambuddhasana, and number 2, to get a ticket to get out of it, right? As much as I possibly can. And as I was talking with her, something that we talked about was the changes that I've been through. She somehow found a video somewhere deep in her phone, and it was a video of myself as a layperson playing a video game. She took the video because she was angry with me, and as she played it, and she told me this is who you were. And inside, I felt great joy, because I am no longer like that. And those of you who've known me for some time now, you would also see small changes here and there whenever you get to see me. And so this is why these sermons are almost like diary entries. For myself, of course, and for other people. This is my journey, which I bring you all along to help your journeys as well. So it brought me to this topic of rejoicing. There's a stanza that the Buddha had preached, and if I was to give the English translation, he says, "Only the wise can rejoice in merits." Now, this is something that one of our monks had an advice that he had given us while we were doing some merit activities. Only the wise can rejoice in merits. Now, I thought, well, is it just the wise that can rejoice in merits? Can't anyone rejoice in merits? And it got me thinking, what does it mean to rejoice? And it got me to this word, rejoice. Joy, re. Re, joy. In other words, rejoice. So it's something that we feel joy again. And thinking about it, when do we actually feel joy? Now, the best example I can give is, today we have an event. We have the opening of this golden fence, right, for the Bodh tree. Now, none of us, I don't know, maybe, most of us, I can say, aren't the ones who put the fence up. We weren't the ones who planned it all. We weren't the ones who did any of this. Now, for example, if we're there, say for example, in the monastery, a great example would be the kitchen. So they're constructing a new kitchen. Now, we may not be able to directly do something with it. For example, we may not be able to donate money towards it. However, someone who is wise will look at this and will think, right now, I can't physically do anything about it. And later, when I am able to do something, well, the monastery doesn't need 2 kitchens. 1 kitchen is more than enough. So I may not be able to do something now, and when I am able to do something, well, it's no longer needed. So what should I do? Now, someone who is wise thinks, well, if I can't do it now, and when I can in the future, it's no longer needed. What I can do now is think about what it will do. What will this really do for the Sambuddhasana? Now, right now, you should be thinking, okay, if this is donated, if this is made, or this is given to the Sambuddhasana, what will it do? Now, to the depth that you think, you will gain merits. So if you were to simply, in a very superficial level, say, I'm going to, by having, for example, by having this cup of water, the preacher, when he needs it, will drink it. Full stop. You will get that amount of merits. But if you were to think further than that, water, right? Not only will he be able to do this, he's able to preach. The words that he preaches will be heard by countless others. And then they'll go on their path, and X, Y, Z, A, B, C, to the very end. And the further you think and the more deeper you think, the deeper you think, the more joy that will rise in your heart, and therefore you are rejoicing. Now, a very common mindset that lots of people have is, if I was to do something like that. So, for example, So we have this decorated, right? Now, if you were to think, if I was decorated, if I was to be given the chance to decorate, I would decorate it better. I would decorate it in this sort of way. Are you creating joy in your heart? So, are you rejoicing? That's not rejoicing. If I was able to decorate, I wouldn't decorate like this. I would decorate like X, Y, Z with this and with that. And you're, instead of creating this feeling of, joy, you're creating this feeling of, me. You're creating this feeling of, if I will do this, if I did that. And therefore, instead of rejoicing and accumulating merits, you're accumulating what? Demerits. Because you're cultivating selfishness. You're cultivating this idea that, I can do better. Again, you are cultivating you're cultivating self, you're cultivating ignorance. Therefore, that's a extra lifespan for ignorance, meaning extra lifespan for samsara. So when we do when we see something, we have to have joy in our hearts. Now, this is common with everything. It doesn't need to be in the Sambuddha Sasana you can only rejoice. It could be wherever. But with our mindset, a mindset that only thinks about me, myself, and I, with a mindset that only thinks about what I have, it is very hard to rejoice. For example, your neighbors buy a new car. Now, I know most of you, if not all of you, don't have this mindset. But this is a mindset that not just that you may have had in the past, but countless individuals have had and still do have. When your neighbors buy a new car, what do you think? Wow, they bought a new car? No, you think, they've bought a new car? What is it? It's that car. Okay, I have to one-up them. And what can I do? What can I buy? How can I show that, how can I show I'm better? Now, you could have had the opportunity to rejoice and say, wow, they've bought this car. Now their transport and they can do all this stuff. And you can rejoice and accumulate merits out of this. But with a mindset filled with selfishness, with a mindset that cultivates this idea of self, you can't. Because what can I do? I need to be better. I need to do one bit better. Now, you'll see this something that I've also experienced is parents and their children. When a parent hears that another child has done very well in an exam, automatically the parent inside of us thinks what? Oh, well, your child got, say, straight A's in his A-levels. My son, he's a doctor. It isn't relevant in any sort of way. She's, the other mother is saying this, so, to out of complete joy in our heart that my son's worked hard or my daughter's worked hard, got straight A's in his A-levels or her A-levels. But because of this selfishness, this idea that, no, I have to be better, you no longer rejoice. You think, what? How can I one up? Even though your son or your daughter may not have straight A's, you would say something that makes you feel to be better. Why? Because you cannot rejoice. Now, if you were to look around you, what sort of thing can you not rejoice about? Tell me one thing around you that you cannot rejoice. This mic. Can you not rejoice in that? This board. Can you not rejoice in that? This carpet. Can you not rejoice in that? You see, everything around us, especially around us, meaning around the Buddha Sasana, literally from the moment you wake up to the moment you close your eyes to fall asleep again, you can accumulate massive, incalculable amount of merits. Now, when the Buddha preached, only the wise can rejoice in merits. And I'll tell you the story of when he said this. And it's a story that lots of people will know, but I will retell the story very briefly so we are all on the same page. So back in the time, 2,500 years ago, we had a king called King Kosala. Now, he used to give dana, right? He used to give alms giving to the maximum he possibly could, right? So he would give the best he possibly could. And then, not only that, he would invite villagers to come, right? Not to help in any sort of way, but just to witness. Now, the villagers thought, no, we want to do one bit better. So they'll go to the Buddha, they'll request for the Buddha to come to the village for an alms, and they'll one-up the king and do something better. Now the king's pride, right? If the villagers, my villagers, the citizens of my kingdom is doing better than I am, I can't do this. And so he'll invite the Buddha to come again and then do one bit better. And the villagers thinking, we can't let the king do this. We want to do better than the king himself. And it goes back and forth, until the villagers did one that the king thought, I can't do this. This is the dana, the alms giving that these villagers gave. I can't give something better than this. And so he was in his kingdom and he's really sad and really upset about this. Until the queen, Kosala Mallika, saw the king and asked, my lord, why are you upset? And so he tells a story of this back and forth alms giving. Do you see how they were? Yes, they were having a small competition, but a competition for what? Who can give an alms giving to the Buddha? So yes, they have a small bit of selfishness inside of that, but who are they giving it to? The Buddha. Back then, the fights were about very good things, right? Nowadays, our fights are different. So the queen says, "Oh Lord, you are the king of this entirely, in these several places. You own wealth beyond these villages. Let's give another dana." And so they went and invited 500 arahants, including the Buddha, and also the Buddha and another 500 arahants, and told them to come to the palace. And they made the place. And of course, each arahant had an elephant holding a pearl umbrella, and the descriptions go beyond what I can describe. Right, every arahant had a person next to them, scraping sandalwood and putting it into almost like a canal of very scented liquids to make it smell good. And then every alms bowl was made out of gold, silver, and this is the only dana, or this is the greatest dana that could be given to a Buddha only once in his life, right? Which is called the incomparable dana, or asadosha dana. Now, at this moment, as they were giving this dana, the king had 2 advisors. Now, one of the advisors was really happy about this and thinking, wow, like look at this. Like look at how great our king is. He doesn't care about his wealth and about what he's receiving. He wants to give his wealth to the Mahasangha, to give it to the soul, these fighters who fight against their defilements and defilements with all others. Well, technically they were all arahants, so he was thinking, they're all helping other people to attain Nibbána. And one advisor was really happy. The other advisor was thinking, has our king lost it? I mean, he's the king. What is he doing? He's giving it to these bold people. I mean, yes, you should give, but not to this extent. And he had this in his mind. And so the Buddha, having seen both his advisors, normally after every dana, the Buddha would give a bhuktanamodana, a small discourse to explain the merit power of what they've done. Now think about it like this, right? There will only be one incomparable dana in a single Buddha sasana. So the Lord Buddha will only get one. Having seen the 2 mindsets of these advisors, after the dana, he decides to leave without a bhuktanamodana. This was the one dana that he does not give a bhuktanamodana, the short discourse. Why? Because if he did talk about the advantages of this dana, the advisor who was thinking really badly about this almsgiving, in the stories it says that his skull will crack into 7 pieces. He's a hatkareverna. And so, out of great compassion, the Buddha just walks away. And now the king, right, expecting to hear something from the Buddha, sees the Buddha just stand up with all the 500 and just leave. And now he's upset. Has he done something wrong? And so he goes to the Buddha and asks, did I give something that's wrong? Did I do something that's wrong? What did I do? And so the Buddha explains. You see, the villagers can't one-up this dana because the villagers don't have elephants. The villagers don't have people from the Sakyan clan. The Sakyan clan were, I think the English translation is the purebred. Like in what do you call it? In Harry Potter, you've got like the mudbloods and you've got the purebloods. It's like Sakyans were basically pure. And so the villagers don't have these sort of people. So they realize that they can't one-up this. Anyway, so again, this is about rejoicing. One of them was able to rejoice in all these merits. One of them wasn't. Now, when we look around and we see things, if we always see its negatives or if we always see the faults in it, you cannot rejoice properly. You see a person and they've done so many good things but one bad thing. Now, our human minds have been trained to look at faults. You see you find out that one person has done one bad thing and that leaves a mark for however long. Trust me, you'll see this happen, right? You make a mistake and you'll be called out for this mistake for a long time. Why? Because people have been trained to look at what? The good things in others? No, we've been trained to look at the faults. And when you see faults, can you rejoice? Whatever the person does, can you rejoice? So today, right? Not just today, but whenever you possibly can, look around and rejoice in as many merits as you possibly can. Because rejoice is not about what, it's about what happens here. Does your heart fill with joy? If it does, great. If it doesn't, try. Because the act of rejoicing isn't something that happens immediately. It's not something that you can, from today onwards, I'm going to rejoice as much as possible. It's not something that you can do like that. It's something that you have to train your mind. It's the ability to train your mind to be able to rejoice in whatever you see. For example, every 2 weeks we've got a dakineyo. Do you properly rejoice in that? I don't think I rejoice enough. And this is me who've been to almost all dakineyos. I don't think I rejoice enough. Because there is so much we can rejoice about. I mean, having 100 or more than 100 sons and also daughters of the Buddha make their way into a hall. I mean, in our heads we should be seeing what? Back in the time of the Buddha, when thousands of arahants will come in step, right? One after each other. Really, every single time you see such a sight, your heart should be filled with, should be brimming with immense amount of joy. It should be a feeling that, it should be something that you can't tolerate. It's such a strong feeling because why? This is the Buddha Sasa we're talking about. That's when you know that you're rejoicing to the maximum. Because remember, right, to rejoice, you don't need to have done anything, because like we've heard in these stories, right, when the banker Anathapindika, right, made the monastery Jetavanaram, right, a person just came and saw this monastery and gave a sadhukara, right, just said sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. In the heavens, Anathapindika got a palace made of silver, whereas this random stranger who hasn't contributed a single cent, right, got one out of gold. Because it's not about what you do, it's about over here. Because if we looked at it in the eyes of the Dhamma, if Anathapindika if he was the one who created the monastery, right, who built the monastery, now in the current mind of offering, has that mind created the monastery? Is that mind that made the monastery? Okay. Let me give you an example, right? I have 2 pens here, right? I put these 2 pens together and I make one long pen. The mind right now, is it the same mind that created the long pen? Is it the same mind that created the long pen? No, because the mind will arise and then the mind will pass. So, if I was to do something and look at it, and if you weren't to do anything, but if you were to look at it, what is the difference between these 2 minds? No, so, I do something and then I look. You don't do anything, but you look. What is the difference between these 2 looks? These 2 looking or seeing minds? Both of these are what? Seeing minds. So Can you say the one, this mind, this mind is doing so much more merit than this mind? Can you say that? What right do you have to say that? Because what? This mind is newborn and this mind is also newborn. Which one did all the merits? No, this current mind is newborn. So the one who created Jetavanarama, the one who just saw it, at that very moment, both minds are the same. So the one who, the mind that arose, that didn't do anything, if this heart was filled with more joy, because remember, right, a mind will only arise according to its environment, right? So if this mind had the environment or had the views and had the knowledge and therefore had more joy in their heart, would they not accumulate more merits? Another great way of thinking about this is about, when we talk about the views or the environment. Now, growing up, I don't know about all of you, but I used to, growing up when I was very little, I used to watch a lot of cartoons. And I used to love watching cartoons, right? You'll say, Tom and Jerry, and then you have all these amazing cartoons. And you will see this, and so mostly cartoons are normally like 20, 25 minutes long. And you think, why is it just 20 to 25 minutes long? Why can't they make it longer? And I remember very, very clearly, I think one day in school, we had to animate. All we had to animate was a ball, right? And all we had to do is make the ball go down and back up. That's it. All we had to do was make a round ball go down and go back up. And I realized, how on earth did they do 25 minutes? How on earth did they do 25 minutes? Because we had to learn that, an animation is a frame at a time. So the animator had to think about every single frame. Like right now, we've got technology to do things for us, but back then they had to draw every single frame, put them all together, and then record and take photo to take snapshots of every single scene or every single frame, and then put them all together. And then you realize, after this, I could not watch a cartoon without fully appreciating the animators. Literally by the end of the cartoon, I'll be thinking, wow, the animators have done so much. Did you not see how great the background looked, or how this looked? Because although this mind was the one who created, this mind was the one who just saw, this mind has now what? New views, new knowledge, and therefore can rejoice, can build more joy. That's why, in lots of our sermons, right, that we do in the monastery, we talk about the good merits that we do, right, that others have done as well. Things that we may not have done, but other people have done. We all talk about this. For what reason? If I got a chance to do it, I would have done so much better, right? If I was to do something, I would have done it much better. Is that for the reason? No, we do it for one reason only, for us to what? Rejoice. Honestly, you could just sit there and look around and rejoice in everything, and maybe accumulate more merits than the person who actually did it. Because remember, rejoicing is about the depth. By offering a pen or offering this mic, which one is more meritorious? You could say, well, this pen, all we can do is write, right? I think you can just write on it, and within several weeks, this pen is going to be empty. But look at this mic. This mic is doing this, doing that. No, both of them have well, most of them can have the potential to have an immense amount of merit power, according to what? According to how we think, how much joy the mind feels. You see, this is the importance of rejoicing. This is why it is joy, feeling joy again. Now, throughout our lives, we've already done lots of meritorious things. Can't we re-joy in those? Yesterday, you all helped out in the Buddha Puja. Can't you re-joy in that? See, we're putting back the joy in rejoicing. We have to put back the joy in rejoicing. Your heart should be filled. Your heart should be, brimming with immense amount of joy. Because that is when you can truly rejoice in a merit. Because if you were to look at it, okay, a pen or this cup, which one is more valuable? Which one is more valuable? See, you can say, well, this cup is more valuable than the pen, or the pen is more valuable than the cup. But which one is more valuable? Which one is more valuable? Now, we talked about this before, but again, it's a good point. Is water or diamonds more valuable? Now, immediately you think, diamonds must be much more valuable. It is so much more rare. It is so much more shiny, right? And it's so hard, and it could be used for so many things. But water, you open a tap and water comes out. If you were to ask, okay, by offering diamonds or offering water, which one's more valuable? Can you give an answer? No, because the question is what? It's what you feel. For example, water or diamonds, which one's more valuable? Depending on where you are, right? You're in the middle of the Sahara Desert, trekking through the desert for hours and hours with the hot, scorching sun over your head. Now what? Diamonds? Diamonds are so valuable, you'll keep it in your pocket. No, if the diamonds are extra weight, what do? You'll throw it out and keep walking, looking for what? Water. A very good example would be, if you're the last person on earth, how valuable is diamonds now? Would you make sure you separate your diamonds and you wear your diamonds, right? And show to who? Show to the rest of the world that I'm wearing diamonds? If you're the last person on earth, would you still show off your diamonds? Show off your gold? To who? No, now you think about, okay, I need to build a wall here. I'm going to put everything here that I don't need into this wall. If it's a diamond, it's a diamond. If it's gold, it's gold. I don't care. I just need a wall here. Because value comes from what? Value comes from what? Value comes from necessity. What is necessary here? So again, then you could say, but okay, so water is so much more valuable because why? It's a sustenance for life. Our body is made out of 80% of water, and therefore it's very important. But can you use water to buy things? Could you go to a shop with a liter of water and say, shopkeeper, I'm going to give you this liter of water. You can give me, I don't know, 24 karat gold with a liter of water. Can you do that? No, because why? In their eyes, which one's more valuable? Because it's always about necessity. What is necessary here? Because what we have to remember is, this is made out of what? In its most basic component, what is this made out of? Now, I do want to touch upon this because it's a very, very interesting idea. So, okay. This pen fundamentally is made from what? Now you can say, the four great elements. But even more than that, what is this made out of? What is it made out of? Pure energy. This is made out of what? Pure energy. This is made out of what? Pure energy. This is made out of what? Pure. This is made out of what? This hand is made out of what? Pure energy. All of this is made out of pure energy. Now, a beautiful way of trying to understand what pure energy is chaos. Is chaos. Why is chaos a way of describing pure energy? Because what form does pure energy truly have? What form does it truly have? It doesn't have a form. It's true chaos. Okay, so to build on this point, right? Everything is trying to get to its most chaotic form, and in science you call it entropy, right? That's beyond the point. But everything is trying to go into its most chaotic form. That's why this light, right? After it's emitted, where does it go? After light bounces off things and goes through your eyes and hits other things, where does it go? What we say it dissipates. Heat dissipates. In other words, it's trying to become more chaotic. It's trying to break into smaller pieces and return back to chaos. Now, out of chaos, what happens is that everything here is made of pure energy. But then you can say, well, if this is pure energy and this is pure energy, why can't I put these pure energies together and to get something else? Why are these two separate things? And that's because, yes, we have chaos. But what has happened is, out of chaos, the mind has formed something out of chaos. Now, and a very good example that Nayaka had given for this, right? And I do briefly want to touch upon this is, okay, if say one day you're walking on the seashore, right? You're walking on the seashore and you see a sandcastle. What can you interpret? What can you truly say about this seashore? You're walking on the seashore, right? Next to the sea with all this sand, and as you're walking, you see what? You see a sandcastle. What can you talk? What can you say? What can you say about this? If I was to ask you what has happened, what can you say? That someone was here before you, and not only that, someone had wanted to make a sandcastle and therefore has made a sandcastle. Agree? I mean, as you walk on the seashore, do sandcastles just pop out of nowhere? No, there's always what? There has to be, well, technically, there doesn't need to be any one there. What do we know for certain there is? No, there was. There was a need for a sandcastle. Because why? Can you tell me if that person was, a child, a toddler, a teenager, in their mid-20s, in their 30s, in their 40s? Can you explain? Can you tell me what sort of attributes this person had? Are you sure you're not certain it was a toddler? Are you certain? Well, we don't know. Did the person have brown hair, blue hair, green hair, red hair? What sort of hair did they have? Can you tell me? No. Did they have brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes? What sort of eyes did they have? Can you tell me that? No, but we know one thing for certain. That mind had what? The mind had a need for what? A sandcastle. So, out of the sand, because of a need in the mind, a sandcastle was created? Did someone create a sandcastle? Is it separate from the sand? No. They used the sand and modeled the sand to manifest the what? Sandcastle. So out of chaos, thanks to necessity, we get order. Chaos, necessity, order. So if I asked you, does everyone see this pen? Yes, you see the pen. Yes. No, anyone here who cannot see this pen? If not, I would strongly advise you to go to an optician, right? Because that's the pen in my hand, right? Everyone see this pen? What is the story with this pen? What is the story about this pen? There was a necessity. A mind arose with the need for something, say for example, something to write that could be erased. And therefore, chaos turned to order. Therefore, we have pen. Necessity for a blue. We have a black, but a mind arose thinking, you know what, black, I already have a black. I want another color. I really need another color. Therefore, chaos, because of necessity, turned into order. A great example would be, everyone knows Da Vinci, right? Leonardo da Vinci. What did he do? Not only did he paint Mona Lisa, right? What else did he do? He was an engineer. He was a chemist. He was a doctor. Now, it's very, very interesting, because the reason why, if you were to go and ask him, why are you a chemist? The answer that he would give is, because I really wanted to paint. And when I was painting, I was looking for this certain color. Say, for example, I was looking for turquoise. And so, I looked around, searched everywhere, couldn't find this exact color. Or let's think of a very, very exact color. I needed salmon pink. And so, there was a necessity. Therefore, chaos turns to order. In that mind, it turned chaos into order. And so, out came what? Salmon pink paint. You see, every single time, everything around us is a construct of what? Or is an arrangement of what? Chaos. Chaos, in other words, is pure energy, right? This is made of pure energy, this is made of pure energy. But however, we see order. Anyone see this in a chaotic form? Anyone see this as pure energy? Can you? Here we go. Is this pure energy? Can you see it as pure energy? No, you can't, because why? You see what? Order. Then you can say, okay, how can we say this is pure energy though? Because this is a winnowing fan. This has to be made of something. Where did it come from? Chaos, pure energy, turned into order, or was manifesting a winnowing fan for as long as what? There's necessity. Now for this sandcastle will only be there for as long as necessity is there. Now, I don't know, I hope everyone here has made a sandcastle. If not, right, in your minds, pretend you've made a sandcastle, right? You make a sandcastle, right? I don't know, right? And then you got the moat, right? And you got the bridge, the door. Right? This is your sandcastle. It's an amazing sandcastle. You've never seen something like this. If you were to leave this sandcastle alone, what will happen? You can't see this, can you? Because let me draw my sandcastle again somewhere higher. Don't forget the flag. Right. You've made a sandcastle. Now you left it alone. What will happen to the sandcastle? How long will the sandcastle be there? Will it be there forever? Once necessity is not there, what will happen? Order will go back to what? Chaos. And slowly what will happen is there'll be the wind, there'll be the waves, right? There'll be other people who don't have necessity for the sandcastle, right? Older siblings. Just how it is. Younger siblings, other people, parents, right? Unaware parents or people. And slowly but surely, we can state 100% we know that after some time, where's the sandcastle now? Did the sandcastle go back to the sand? So can you pick up some sand and say, this is the left wall. This is the right wall. Can you pick up the sand and say this is part of the sandcastle? No. Order goes back into what? Chaos. Sandcastle goes back into what? Sand. So everything around us is just a necessity of a mind that makes it into order. Once necessity is gone, order will turn back to what? Chaos. So when we talk about this necessity turning into order, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about the quality of dukkha. Because this mind has the necessity meaning it has a view. It creates order. Now remember, necessity is what gives value. Therefore, this gives value to that. But you think, right? Because we don't realize this is how it was created. Or scratch that, not created, but how it was manifested. We think that value is part and parcel of the object. That's why no matter how deeply you think, the first moment you look at these two pens, you automatically give one more value than the other. For example, this pen doesn't have any writing on it. This pen does. This pen's scratched. This pen isn't. And automatically you give it one more value than the other, almost feeling that one is more valuable. But remember, that's just because of necessity. The one that you feel to be more necessary for yourself. For example, if you like the color blue, then you keep it. If you like the color black, then you'll think of it some. You'll use it differently. For example, you know this very well. You have a color preference for when you're writing in your books. No. It's either you're a black pen writer or a blue pen writer. Right? Switching colors seems so awkward or so different. That's why they say when you're studying to switch colors of the pen, right? So different things stand out. Now, I remember learning, right, that, if you're writing, like, blue stands out more than black. But then I was one of the blue pen writers because Amma always gives me blue pens, right? And I'd write in blue. But then every now and then, when I wanted something to be emphasized, it will be written in what? Black. So again, because you write in blue, black has more what? Value? But if I was writing black and then write in blue, now what would that have? Oh, I'd write mostly in black and a bit of blue. Now what does that have? Does blue have now more value? Which one has more value? Necessity has value. Necessity is value. Objects themselves don't intrinsically have value inside of them. How much is a rupee worth? Which one's more valuable, a rupee or a pound? Or a dollar? I don't know about currency these days, right? But for argument's sake, right? For argument's sake, we'll say, because I do know, I think a pound is worth more than a dollar. It is worth more than, I'm guessing. This is a guess. I don't know. I haven't seen anyway. 1 pound is equal to $120 and 300 rupees. So does it mean a pound is more valuable than a rupee? So when we do something like this, right? This is why can't I say that this is exactly how it is? Because what happens is these fluctuate. I remember many years back, it'll be 1 pound was equal to 200 rupees, right? And there'll be times where dollar goes ahead of pounds and whatnot, because which one actually is more valuable? Which one's actually more valuable? Money doesn't have value intrinsically. I remember learning many years back that to make some notes costs more, like say for example to make, we don't have pound notes, but if we say to make a 5 pound note or to make say a pound coin, it would actually cost more than a pound to make it. Then you think, what's the point of making that if it costs more than this? Aren't you losing money? No, because money isn't something that's in these coins or in these pieces of paper or pieces of plastic. It is something that we believe. It's a value that we place. The greatest example would be, still today, I can't understand rupees. Meaning, if someone came up to me and said, this costs 500 rupees, I would sit there thinking, okay, 500 rupees, that's probably like 1.5 pounds, 1.5 for this, that's expensive. But if rupees can show value, why can't I feel value with rupees? Because again, this isn't true value. Again, even with say something like diamonds are valuable because of what? Because they're rare, right? Are they rare though? Are they rare? Diamonds aren't as rare as we think. But it's made to feel rare. Therefore, by making it feel scarce, the value of diamonds what? Increases. And you'll see this a lot because people will give different things value according to what they feel, according to their necessity. How many of you will buy used clothes for over over 100,000 rupees? Used clothes for over 100,000 rupees. Would you? No. No one in their sane mind would spend so much for used clothes unless what? Necessity is there. Your favorite, right, celebrities, right, used t-shirt. Now what? Necessity means what? Value. Value means I would pay anything for that. Right? I'll pay an arm and a leg. Literally, I'll cut off my arm just for you to give me this. Why? Because of what? Necessity. But does that intrinsically have any value? Does it actually have any value? Does it actually have any essence inside of it? But yet, people would fight for this, wouldn't they? People will argue and people will steal this. Why? Because they feel intrinsically, inside here, that there must be something valuable in that. That I must have that. Somehow I have to get that. That's why when say your neighbors buy something new, right? You feel that that's more valuable. Therefore, you have to do what? Buy something that's more, because now necessity is there. Now you take chaos and make order somehow to help this mind. To make this mind feel. Because it's not just, because we're not talking about just a mind here. Anything that has necessity will give a change. For example, this is why if I drop this, it falls down. Why is that? Because up here, there's a necessity for what? For it to go down. Therefore, chaos turns to order and it will fall down. A mind arises according to this as well. Again, this is a topic that is so interesting and so useful to understand the nature of nature. And so we'll touch upon this another time as well. I do promise that. Because I don't think even I understand the depth of this. Because this is how nature works. A mind will arise according to this. A mind will arise according to this. The sense of self also arises because of this. But I do promise that we'll talk about this another time, and I'm very well aware that today I have to end it very early because we have to all get ready for the opening of... It's not really an opening, is it? It's more the unveiling. There you go. The unveiling of the golden fence around the Buddha tree. So I would like you to keep this in mind, right? And I do promise that we'll talk more about this, especially about the value, the true value of things, some other time. But until then, do think about this, because the more you think, the more it becomes very obvious to you. Because remember, you can't attain Nibbána. Why is everyone looking at me like you can't attain Nibbána? Then why are we all here? Let's all quit, right? I give up. If I can't attain Nibbána, I give up. Why are we? No, because you can't. What is Nibbána? Because if you can attain Nibbána, that means there's nothing to do. Nibbána is environment. Nibbána is equal to environment. If you have the environment, then you have what? Nibbána. This is true for every single thing. This is why the environment is essential. And you'll hear me say this like a broken record. You'll hear me say this as like a broken record. I'll be telling you this, I hope, until the day I die, right? I pass away. I will continue to say this, right? Environment is key. Environment is essential. Because environment is equal to Nibbána. Because if it's you who can do all this, then all you have to do is sit to a side and think, okay, I need to attain Nibbána, and you think, okay, let's get rid of ignorance, and ignorance goes. Or you think of let's get rid of jati goes. You think of let's get rid of attachment goes. Let's get rid of ignorance goes, and you open your eyes and now you're an arahant. But does that work for everyone? No, because what needs to happen? Environment needs to be there. So we have to continuously have the environment that can help us to attain Nibbána. And again, that doesn't mean, staying, well, all of you are at the monastery, but those of you online, it doesn't mean to be at the monastery. Because being in the monastery, do you see differently, or do your senses pick up something different? So do your eyes pick up more than like red, yellow, orange, blue, green, purple, indigo, violet? Do your ears hear more than vibrations? Do your nose smell more than just esters and scents? Do your taste more than sweet, sour, salty, bitter? No, you'll take the same thing, but it will be different. When you perceive, you're given what? Views. That is the most important thing. That's why you can be within the best noble association. You can be right next to the Buddha and may not still attain Nibbána. Because why? You have everything but the environment. Environment meaning not what's around you, but the mental environment. Because your environment around you will always change. Today you'll be able to come and practice the path every day, but who knows, tomorrow you have to be in hospital for the next 2 months. How? Because you find out that you've got a disease that needs to be closely monitored. Now can you attain Nibbána? If you're in the hospital, can you not attain Nibbána? You can. It's about what? Mental environment. But mental environment can only be, or the easiest way to get mental environment is how? It's by having noble association around you. Again, that's merits. So remember, right? Let's put joy back in rejoicing, right? And rejoice, even though you may not have done anything. Have you not done anything? All right, so today we are revealing the golden fence. Have you not done anything? Oh, you have. The other day, for the sermons that is done on Thursdays for our monks and anagarikas and anagarikas. At last night, Kandra had asked, right? So Guru Handru is in Australia, and he's I was told that he's doing 3 sermons a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and his voice in a couple, I'm guessing another couple weeks will be hoarse, right? And so we saw some pictures of his journey, going around talking to people, and not only himself but Mahinda Handru and Bakula Handru and all the monks who have gone abroad to preach and whatnot. And one question that he asked was, because of who is Guru Handru there? Right? Put your hand up if it's because of you the Guru Handru there. And I kid you not, every single hand in that hall went up. Is it not? Because of yourselves. Because of what you may have done. Or no, that you have done, not may, that you have done. Guru Handru has gone abroad and has now changing lives of many others. I think Nayakananda also gave us, told us that on his way, I think you'll hear this today as well, but he said that on his way from, as he went on the airport, right, on the airplane, I think in either in the Australian airport, he met a couple, and probably was able to converse for about 20 minutes, no more, no less, right? And both of them have given their names to become Anagarika and Nagarika. 20 minutes. That's all Guru Nanak needs. 20 minutes. And people's lives change. It's incredible. So, because of who was he able to do all that? Because of all of you. So can't you rejoice in that merit? Every single, breath that Guru Nanak takes, can you not rejoice? No? You see, within your lives, from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, literally there should be not a single moment that you can poke your finger in and not rejoice. Every single moment, from the moment you should be, bubbling with immense amount of joy, because you can. Because you can. Because we're very fortunate to be in such an environment. Or we're very fortunate to be given an environment to create such an environment in our minds. This is the Sambuddhasasana. Right, I'm aware of time and I have to let you all go. But before we go, let's take a few moments to transfer our merits and conclude today. Okay. Let's take a few moments to transfer all the merits we've acquired by making offerings to the infinite virtues of the Noble Triple Gem, chanting Pirit, listening Dharma, and engaging in various meritorious deeds today. So first and foremost, let's remind ourselves how incredibly fortunate we are to be received over Buddhist teachings, and with immense gratitude, let's chant for the Master Bhikshu Bhikshunis, Upasakas who've since time immemorial protect and preserve the sublime teaching of the Buddha and pass it down through the generation of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, to understand, to comprehend Dhamma. Let's all take a moment to transfer merits to all the members of the Mahasangha present throughout the world, including all the chief plates of the chapters, who have dedicated their lives to a noble path and committed themselves to betterment of all sentient beings. And not forget among them will be the monks and nuns resident in local temples and nunneries who have always been by his side through thick and thin, come rain or shine. So also take a moment to transfer merits to Guru Sananse, as well as the monks resident at the monastery, as well as the Anagarikas and Nagarikas attached to the monastery. Let's all take a moment to transfer merits and express our gratitude to those who made great effort to disseminate the teaching of the Buddha, be that by translating sermons, sharing them out with others, inviting others to join them. May the power merits. If any of them have been born in the world plane, may they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May by the power of merits, may they abstain from non-meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's all take one chance of merits to all the friends of the monastery who, for sake of merits, continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes every one of you who have contributed to the construction of the monastery, those of you who provide the Mahasangha shelter, alms, robes, medicines, as well as those who pass on their know-hows and their well wishes. May through the power of the merits, may they abstain from the meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's take a moment to transfer merits to our mothers, fathers, husbands and wives, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews, nieces, friends and acquaintances, employees, and to all those who have helped us, support us, assist us in any shape or form. By the power of these merits, may they be healed of physical and mental ailments. May they overcome any obstacles in their spiritual progress. May they abstain from non-meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's take a moment to transfer merits to the Devas, Brahmas, spirits, demons, primarily the Sakadeva, as well as numerous gods and deities who commit to protect and fulfill the Sambuddhasana, let's not forget among them, will be our garden deities who keep watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May through the power of these merits, may they prosper in divine power and wisdom. May they abstain from non-meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's take a moment to transfer merits to our ancestors who have predeceased us, to all those who have been friends and family to us, and acquaintances in this long journey in samsara. Let's also take a moment to transfer merits to all those who helped us, support, assist us in the way they could. Also take a moment to transfer merits to all the members of the armed forces as well as the police force who sacrificed their lives to protect the peace and harmony of our nation. May all those who lost lives in the war be the friend or foe, rejoice in mental quiet today. So I'll take one chance of merits to all those who lost their lives in natural calamities such as tsunamis, earthquakes, landslide, pandemics, and reminding ourselves among them will be those who have been friends and family to us. And friends and family to us, and also take one chance of merits to them all. May the power of the merits, if any, have been born in the willful plane, may they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May by the power of the merits, may they abstain from the meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble fourth path, and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbána. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, let's all resolve, may the power and blessings of all the merits required for the day. We've been to witness the event of many hundreds of thousands of Arhat nuances or Arhat main nuances in this blessed land. And finally, may by the power of all the merits required for the day, you and I and everyone who made this program a success become a Arhat nuance or Arhat main nuance in this very life, in the era of the Gautama Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the blessings and Dhamma be with you all. The Mahasangha will now transfer their blessings to you. Raga ginen midetva, dvesha ginen midetva, moha ginen midetva, Nibbāna parama sukhayin Sukita taravitva. Nibbāna parama sukhayin Sukita taravitva. Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satnvayo. Nibbāna parama sukhayin Sukita taravitva. Nibbāna parama sukhayin Sukita taravitva. Raga gini niveva, dvesha ghini niveva, moha ghini niveva. Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva. Tunrongi, Suvisyananta Mahaguna Belin, Sil Loka Sil Satyoma, Nibbāna Paramasukhayin Sukhitarayatva.